I'm Dutch, and let's react to the Americans. Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Johan, and I'm a typical Dutchman. And if you're planning to come over to Europe for your holidays or to live here permanently, or if you're wondering why is everything so expensive in the United States in comparison with Europe, then you are at the right channel, because in this channel we take a look and I react to videos about life and living in the US versus life and living in Europe or the Netherlands. And for today we're going to take a look at a video from Damon Cassidy. We're going to start with a subscribe and a like. And he's talking about what if is happening to the job market in the US, I guess. And I'm wondering too, what is going on in the US with all these new tariffs coming in and people getting laid off and aren't able to find a new job, living in cars, living in stores, not a store, in store boxes. It's crazy. So what is happening to the job market looked to me as, okay, let's look interesting. Maybe he can tell me what if is going on with the job market. So let's take a look.
Wall Street Journal, Gen Z graduates are facing the worst job market in over a decade, despite the average CEO now making over 300 times more than the typical employee.
What? Did I hear that correctly? I have to bump up the volume a bit. Did he say 300 times more than... Listen again. LinkedIn entry-level hiring is 23%, is lower than March 2020. Help not wanted. Okay.
Decade, despite the average CEO now making over 300 times more than the typical employee. And while
he is. U.S. job cuts at 16-year high as trade wars concerns hammer sentiment. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the trade wars, then, yeah, stop firing us. Good. 16-year high. Collectively, 221,812 layoffs announced so far this year is the highest since 2009. Wow.
Layoffs have already reached their highest level since the Great Recession. AI is set to eliminate nearly half of all entry-level jobs just within the next 5 years.
Tech CEO says we could see half our entry-level jobs disappear and 10 to 20% unemployment because of AI. Yeah. That's a big concern everywhere, not only in the US, but yeah. AI is now doing what the computers did, and computers in combination with robots did in the car and other industry. This is what AI is now doing in the tech industry and in the programming and the thinking jobs. Yeah.
Raising the question, when did the job market become nothing more than a circus of greed? While the modern
a circus of greed, okay?
job market couldn't be further from the simplicity of the past, when getting a job actually meant stability and the ability to provide for your family. Decades of unchecked corporate efficiency and political neglect have transformed a job market built on newspaper ads and help wanted signs into one run by algorithm-driven platforms like LinkedIn, where the average hire rate sits at just 0.05%.
Whoa.
Have transformed a job market built on newspaper ads and help wanted signs into one run by algorithm-driven platforms like LinkedIn, where the average hire
job seekers, some using AI, plot linked in with 11,000 applications a minute. There are 6 people hired every minute on LinkedIn. But using AI, 11,000 applications a minute.
rate sits at just 0.05%. Where to understand the root of the shift, I spoke with Brian Creeley, a corporate recruiter, career coach, hiring manager, and HR professional for some of the world's largest companies, and creator of the YouTube channel, A Life After Layoff, who explained what he believes to be the main culprit behind this job market collapse.
It all boils down to one major thing. It's the shareholder, the return on profits. Every year, these companies have to report earnings. Corporations are typically owned by shareholders who want an increasing. Like if you look at the
Yeah. That's if it's a public company with shares, then every quarter they want to have a projective for what will be my EPS, my earnings per share, and if everyone is expecting that every year this EPS is getting higher. So
a company the size of Amazon, this gargantuan level company, like how do you keep on squeezing 3, 4, 5% growth every single year? It gets to the point where these huge corporations almost implode in on themselves because you can't keep on wringing it out. And labor is the number one expense for most companies. So when they're looking at how do we shave costs, it's labor is the very first thing.
It's we need to reduce costs. If we make this guy do what, if we can make AI do what this guy does 10 times faster, then that guy can go. Okay, cost saved.
I was just actually watching this. It was the CEO of Starbucks. He was talking about how he's trying to figure out all of the challenges that they're experiencing. Like it's been like quarter over quarter for the last like 5 or 6 quarters, where it's decreasing revenue for
61.
US-based Starbucks stores, and he's sitting there talking all about like the reason why he thinks it's a problem is it's the person, the customer experience, and the way the menu is structured and how people feel when they're in line. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, no, it has to do with what the product costs. And
I don't drink coffee, so I do not know, but Starbucks $3.95 to $4.95. $1 up in 4 years, yes, 25% each year.
Honestly, unless I'm being treated completely poorly, I could care less what the customer experience. They remember my name or spell it right on the cup or whatever.
Do they write your name on a cup?
It's how much it costs. But he's not addressing the cost of the product. But they have been having layoffs.
Starbucks layoff 1,100 employees, shrink in the menu.
So it's like his mentality of how do we make more money or stop the bleeding, so to speak, isn't maybe we should lower prices to get more volume because prices have gotten so far out of whack, but rather the first mover, first thing they're looking at is labor cost.
What it seems to be is
he's right. If you can lower the prices so more people will buy, then at the end of the day you get a higher income.
Is a complete lack of just a moral compass. It's when do you reach your satiated points? Like I think with the Starbucks example, I mean, as a customer, I don't actually drink coffee, but if I went in there and I was going to get a $7 cup of coffee that probably has like 1,000 grams of sugar in it, and I also knew that the person behind the desk or the counter is making, whatever it is, $11 an hour. It's like that it feels like I'm drinking like just greed. It's like literally just coffee flavored greed. And it's like when you think about these CEOs and it's like, are they having to deal with the shareholders or what it is? It's like at the end of the day, if your job's on the line, but you're making $25 million a year or whatever it is, it's like, isn't that enough already to now have a backbone to say, hey, we're not going to do this anymore?
Yeah. And
that's my big question too. If someone, and he's talking about 25, but if someone makes 2 million or 5 million a year, 5 million a year, isn't that enough for someone? Every year 5 million, and then do the job for 5 years, then you have 25 million earned in 5 years. You can retire in Europe. But you can retire. I'm done. So why does somebody want to have, is it not enough to have 5 million and he needs to have 25 million a year? It's eludes me. I don't know why. It's yeah.
Like really quickly, I just did a quick search on the Starbucks. It's like it's worse than it sounds. Even with the Starbucks CEO, he was awarded back in January of 2025, was awarded 96 million in his first 4 months on the.
He got almost 100 million in the first few months of the job. And then they're wondering, why are the shareholders not happy that the EPS is going down instead of up? Yeah, you pay someone almost 100 million in his first few months. The package also included 480,000 in additional compensation, which the filing indicates includes 143,103 of temporary housing expenses. Oh, wow.
Job. His salary is has made 9,646 times the average salary of a full-time Starbucks employee. Like, when is enough? And I'm not a socialist, by the way. I believe in capitalism. I believe in the ability to earn, and provide value and find your own niche and be able to monetize it, like you've been doing very successfully yourself. But at the end of the day, like, when is enough enough? When is $100 million or 9,500 times your, like, how does a board of directors look at that and say, this guy's driving 9,500 times. We should keep him and not these 9,500 people. Like, he's more valuable to us than them. Like, couldn't you find somebody that would be willing to do as good a job from some business school somewhere that you could pay $1 million, $2 million, $5 million? You know,
that's find the same guy and he earns 925,000 times more than a full-time employee who's actually doing the work at the counter and serving customers and making the money for him.
That's a damn good salary. Like, and then not be enough, but like these $100 million plus compensation packages, and then effectively you can nosedive a corporation in a year or two and say, well, I tried to do a turnaround, didn't work, sorry, and then we can replace me, and then they bring in another guy, and there's no, like, they give you a golden parachute.
Yeah. I tried it, but I didn't. Sorry, no refunds. I got 200 million, but I don't refund. There's no refunds, so I did not do my job very well, but I tried. And I thank you for the 200 million you gave me in the last 2 years, and then I'm gone.
To leave. So there's no incentive for, when you're saying, well, is a CEO, is the executive going to be in, like, are they going to suddenly say, like, yeah, we're going to change how we do things? This is just not, like, where's the moral compass come in? I think this is probably a broader brush than I intend to, because I know not ever, I hate to use like absolutes, because there are exceptions to everything, and I've worked for some really, really good people in my career, but there are people, there are probably not going to be too many CEOs that are willing to take a pay cut, do the right thing. Because
taking a pay cut to do the right thing, it's moral good thing to do.
Because to get to that level, I do think that there is a certain, like, profile, like a personality makeup, and a tendency that is, you're more inclined to be a certain way versus another. I'll leave it at that. You kind of fill in the blanks.
I recently made a video discussing billionaires, and I said one of the things that I think to become that is you have to sell your soul. I don't think that you can become a Jeff Bezos without having to lose who Jeff Bezos was at some point in his life. I think.
Yeah. Can you become a millionaire and losing yourself? Do you need to lose yourself, your identity, to become a millionaire and to become someone else? I hope not.
You have to make the conscious decision. I'm going to abandon this to pursue this. And that doesn't go all the way across the board, because I've had conversations with a guy named Patrick Terry. He owns P. Terry's, which is kind of like the Austin In-N-Out. And one of the things that I noticed is I've met him many times. He's been incredibly kind to my family. The things that he's done has just been, just like specifically for my life, it's actually unbelievable how kind he's been. Been eating his food since I was young. It's been a great experience, and I wanted to share him. I've shared him now twice on my channel, and the amount of people that said like I was a sellout, I hope that I made a bunch of money doing this and all these things, and it's like, how are you not listening to what he's saying? I mean, all I got was an oatmeal chocolate chip cookie both times. I'm not making like, this is just somebody that cares, and it's possible. But I think when you look at like from a consumer perspective, if I'm going to go have P. Terry's, I go to P. Terry's because of the overall, everything about it. It's affordable. The employees there are genuinely very kind and caring. The food is great. And you can tell like in the building, there was.
Are they getting paid enough? Is then my main question for those employees. If they are generally good and caring, but how much do they get paid? Or are they still depending on a 20 or 30% tip? That's usually what's going on in the United States, to pay the employee who bring you your dinner, instead of that P. Terry's in this case pays their employee good enough not to ask for tips, and the tips is actually a bonus on their normal salary.
Care that was put into it. But to become a CEO of something like McDonald's, I mean, that's a soulless company to begin with. And so how could you be someone with integrity and then become the head of the ship of an already rotting boat? It's like you have to be rotten somewhat already.
There is a
yeah. You have to be blind to any kind of compassion to your employees or to other people in general, to be this cold and professional to to become the CEO of McDonald's. I couldn't do it. I'm sure that I would drive McDonald's into bankruptcy. I'm sure.
the chief financial officer for PepsiCo, almost gloating about, well, we haven't really found the point to where people are pissed off enough that they won't buy our product, so we're just going to keep on jacking it up. We're going to look at, figuring out other marketing channels to get it in front of even more people. And he was like real cocky about this, to like, and like, I'm sitting there thinking like, this guy is so disconnected from the American people, and it's worldwide really, but the American people are struggling. And this was at the height of like when we were having that massive wave of inflation. I think it's kind of picking up again a little bit, but like the massive wave of inflation at the grocery store. And his interview on CNN or whatever channel he was on, CNBC or whatever, gloating about how they haven't found the point to which people have said, we're no longer paying for your product. Well, guess what?
We're making the price a bit higher. Still the same? Yeah, okay. Then we do $1 more. Still? Yeah, that's big. Oh, wow.
They found out that point. Now Pepsi is completely struggling. That guy ended up leaving and going where? Disney.
Disney raises streaming prices starting mid-October. Earnings alert.
He went to Disney. And guess what? They had the same interview gloating about Disney's how they've raised the prices. They haven't found the price point yet to which the American family is no longer affording the Disney vacation. So they're keep on like, here's the amount that people are saying, screw you. And they keep on like, we haven't found it yet. Instead of saying this is enough and we want to make this an affordable experience, like maybe for the guy from like Arizona Tea.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of, okay, we have our expenses paid off, we make some profit, and this is a reasonable price. Everybody gets paid. All our expenses are paid. We make a reasonable profit. Our shareholders get some of this profit. We're good. Now they want to go up higher and higher. Yeah.
This is the point where we feel that it's we want to stay. He keeps on raising it, and I'm going, this message seems really eerily similar to the Pepsi one. And then I like looked at it, I go, this guy sounds the same. So I Googled it real quick. Yeah, the same dude moved over to Disney and said the exact same thing. And it's like, that's the mentality that you're up against.
Exactly. And it's unfortunate because you want to have these constructive conversations. And I think especially since we've become so politically divided, when you call out a corporation for acting out like that, then you're automatically labeled like a communist or a socialist. And it's like, no, this should be unacceptable. Like, we shouldn't be eating poison. There shouldn't be to where just in the past 3 years, 30%, there's been a 30% increase in homelessness. And, going back to, I do believe that the average human
30% increase of homelessness? Wow.
is kind, but I think that, the people that rise to be the captains of these soulless ventures, I think that, those are kind of more inherently not as good people. But, just the fact of like to humanize it more, child poverty has increased 22% in just the past couple of years. I mean, that.
Okay. Child poverty.
To think of anybody that has a kid, to think about your family, your kids facing poverty, and it's increasing that fast in the United States. It's unimaginable, and we're not talking about it at all. And I think we're having to ride this fine line between being overly or just positive, negative. But I think now it's being realistic. Like, this is what we're facing now. It is unbelievably stacked against the employee.
Yeah, then it's like, okay, cue the AI. Come on. It's like now you got this whole elephant in the room, and like, where is the market? You were in the banking industry.
Yeah. Okay. People are leaving. Poverty is for the kids. So how about the next generation? We talked about it earlier. How about the next generation? How can they find a job, to find a job that pays enough to support their family and to pay the debt that they build up during their college time, or even not college time, but during their education time? How do they, yeah, and then he says Q AI. Oh,
industry, like where is that going to impact? But just taking your average branch that you go into, like, how is that going to impact? Like a teller, for example.
It's going to gut it. And that was one of the reasons that I left too, was because I noticed how we were starting, I say punished, like we weren't getting like punished, but every Friday we would have these discussions of how many people have you taken to the ATM? And I would say, because, same way that I talk on the channel, I would speak with my manager and say, hey, that we're outsourcing our own jobs right now. And they wouldn't be able to comprehend it. And one of the things that I want to say is, when they use the talking point of we're going to make AI more efficient for our employees. When I was there, I started there in 2018, left, whatever it was, 5.5 years later, 5 years later. We upgraded from a 2011 like Intel computer or Windows computer or something like that to a 2014. And that was revolutionary for us. And so it's like, you're not actually, you truly don't care about the efficiency because
Windows Server 2011 to 13 to 14. Yeah. Okay. In 2023.
The quality of technology that we're using is already archaic.
Yeah.
And the amount of times our systems would crash. And I wasn't working at like some, we were the fifth most profitable branch in the Austin area for one of the top 3 big banks. So it's like we had money. It wasn't going to us. It wasn't going to the technology. And so I think that that's also important to discuss. Like these PR campaigns that these, companies, government, just people in general use is incredibly efficient because it leverages common sense. But in reality, we talk about how expensive things have gotten from 2020 to now. When I was working at the bank in 2018, everybody was talking about how expensive things had gotten from the 2008 recession to 2018. And the reality is we're in 2 decades of incredibly expensive times. Like even if we go back to 2018, wages still weren't keeping up at that point either. And so it's this landslide that is compounding at a rate that is, I think, unprecedented.
Yeah, I can so. It's yeah. As long as I can remember too, it's going downhill all the way.
Concerned about how things are progressing, and especially when you bring in, this AI. It used to be companies would say we're looking at efficiency, we're looking to leverage some tools to help with our employee efficiency, but now companies are starting that tune is starting to shift, and they're coming out very vocally. More and more companies are saying we're investing in AI, and these are roles that if you pay attention to what's being said, in particular by some of the biggest technology firms. The CEO of NVIDIA was talking about this recently, about how there's going to be positions that will be replaced, and who is going to be left behind. There's going to be a group of people left behind.
Yeah. It's not only in the US. It's a concern that I see, and it's all over Europe, and also so it's again the job market worldwide is what is AI gonna who. Not what, but who is gone? Who's got replaced by AI? That's a lot of jobs can be done by AI. Not only one job, but this AI can the same job do faster and with more efficiency and multiple times.
If a productivity tool comes in that increases productivity by 50% in your organization or in your job type in your company, they're not going to just be 100%, 150% more productive. They're going to need 50% less people.
Yeah, that's what I see too. It's not going good. Dark times are ahead of us.
Some of these talking points of you could say, well, the calculator really changed how mathematics was done, or the typewriter, or things of that nature. And it's like if we make it to 200 years from now, will AI probably be resulting in maybe a more prosperous future? Potentially, I think that could be a possibility. But how many people's lives, livelihoods, future generations is that going to cost? And since we've laid no infrastructure to get to that point of prosperity, what makes me think that when I look back 50 years and I see what we've done, why would I think 50 years from now it actually will be more prosperous? And it's really about saying, yeah, AI could do a lot of good. How long is it going to take to get there? And how many people is that going to be? What's the cost?
Yeah.
AI can do a lot of good for a lot of people, but if on the other hand the company's only goal is to make more money, to get to the bottom line and make more money, more profit, so that the shareholders get more money, of which they don't need to pay any taxes of, then it's not good. If you want going to implement AI to support your teams or your people and still keep them on and pay them the same amount, etc., but that's not the goal. The goal is to replace people with AI, and that's not good. That's not a good thing that's happening.
And it's like I try to provide solutions, which I do feel strongly about the solutions that I have. But it is also like there needs to be a level of realism about like what are people like. There's the idealist, and on some level I have an idealist. It's the solution. I look at it from an idealist, like how would you do it perfectly, and giving them a roadmap to that. But we have to look pragmatically at like what is the actual reality of we're told, oh, the job market's fine, everything's good, the numbers are great, but it's like, okay, yeah, we may have, if you looked at charts, because I look at the charts, so I like to look at the data a lot, and I kind of try to like watch the trends, but that doesn't tell the whole story. Like, yeah, like maybe there is, the trends are certainly lower than they were over the last couple of years, but the reality is that are we at the lowest amount of open job postings ever? No. Like, it was worse in 2020, but it doesn't feel worse. It doesn't feel better. It doesn't feel it doesn't feel like it is, like for the average person, they are struggling, and it's like the numbers can be very skewed purposefully, I think, sometimes to paint a certain narrative, but people are struggling. They're not getting high quality jobs. Their jobs are being replaced with fractional work, no benefits. You have to figure out, how to afford that on unemployment, or, maybe making 30% less than you used to. They're not factoring in, if it's a 1099, they've got taxes to pay and all that stuff. And the reality is there's just not a lot of career momentum for a lot of people, and especially if you're entering into the workforce right now.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're trying to get there and to make a starting point and it's not possible, then why should you start a job? It's making people feel like, why should I? Because I will be replaced or will be fired within maybe a half year or a year. So why should I even try? And that gives people, not enough hope to actually try to get a job, and that's not good. And when the jobs offers are better since after COVID, but how really are they gonna solve this? It's
Now it's like I worry about my kids' future, but we'll continue. We'll continue to start to talk about this, and there'll be continued discussions and potential solutions. This is uncharted territory. We're all collectively learning this together. When I started my channel back in 2020, AI was not a thing. This direction of things was not a thing. It was just like reacting and kind of saying, okay, I'm calling it out. And from my perspective, in a human resource / recruiting perspective, that was like the lens I've been looking through. But the market has been changing, and I in my life, in my career, I have never seen a bigger, like, we are at the end of an era, like moving into an entirely new era, epoch, time frame. And this is uncharted territory. Like, where we go, like, buckle up. That's all I've got to say about it. So we'll continue to monitor these trends and be talking about them. But this is uncharted territory I'm speaking for myself. This is uncharted territory for me, and I
yeah. You should talk about it with AI. I discussed this with AI a couple of weeks ago about where is this going to? What is this? And AI says, yeah, there will be people needing to correct and to reprogram and to adjust, but in general, AI can do every job when it's programmed to do, because it's the only thing that really isn't that good for AI is actually waiting to be at a service point, actually talking to people, have a conversation, have empathy. There where empathy is necessary and compassion is necessary, that's something, those feelings cannot be expressed by AI. It can be said, but it cannot be expressed and experienced back. So that's the department. But any other It's hard to, but probably each job can be replaced by AI. Let's talk about the new president.
I would imagine it's also for you.
Oh, I mean, I'm 25, so like 6 years ago, the biggest thing was, could you get a victory royale on Fortnite? So this is like, I am really, it's thankfully like my foundation is just rooted in history. I have really good parents, and so it's like I feel like I'm kind of able to keep up with like the trends and the trajectories, but it's taking a lot of work for me to be like, wow, this is really not good. And then I speak with my friends, and they look to me because they're like, I can't get a job, and they're very smart, great people, and it's like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. It's like I can explain why you can't, and so what I'm trying to do is just save as much money as I can and try to employ them and other people like that. But it's like, man, it's hard. So absolutely, it's unprecedented, and we'll keep doing or uncharted territory, and we're going to keep doing our best. And thank you again for your time, and I know that we'll speak here soon.
Yeah, I'm happy to come on and do these things. Those are fun.
I really hope this video was able to provide some value to you. I know that typically this would be the moment where I would summarize the topics that we've discussed in a more vulnerable and authentic and personal way. I truly value and cherish those moments. They're my most favorite parts of the videos. But I really wanted to bring Brian on. I really value his experiences and his perspectives on these issues. The credibility behind his career, what it is that he's stating, puts a lot of emphasis on the trajectory that we're facing. And I think it's really important, as I've said in many, many other videos, that we begin having these discussions. But it's important to change the perspective of these discussions. This isn't positive or negative. We're not promoting doom. I think it's being realistic. It's what Walter Cronkite used to say, and that's just the way it is. News used to be a moment to share information to the audience, to the everyday American, to the everyday person, to understand the issues that they are facing and how to be able to potentially overcome them, or at least just have the education or the knowledge to make their own decisions. And unfortunately, we've lost that. But I'm trying to put that back.
Yeah, to learn again to do critical thinking. That's something that's very important in your life, and making good decisions about critical thinking. And this is what he's trying to promote: is do due diligence with what you say and what you do. And we need to talk about it. What's going on? It's here and now. It's not the good or it's not bad. No, it's here. And what are we going to do about it? And especially in the United States, where there is no labor laws and there are no other nets, safety nets to catch people who are losing their job or don't find a job. Or how about the kids, and how are they getting through education and find a job and find houses? And I've seen a lot of videos on my channel along with you that there are hard times coming up. So it's unbelievable how this still is coming on to United States and nobody is acting on it.
Back into trying to make that more of a reality. So I'm sorry that it is somewhat negative, but it needs to be discussed. The next couple videos that I'll be breaking down very heavy topics, and I hope that I can continue to do the best I can with those and provide the conclusions that we all love. To end this video, I provided a clip that I believe summarizes the absurdities that each and every one of us are facing. It's truly sickening, but I recommend that you still watch this clip. It shows just how beyond how deeply disconnected some of these individuals in power are compared to what the everyday person is facing. So
yeah, it's already being Elon Musk, for example, with his Doge, to make the government efficient. How many people he just kicked out, has fired, let them fired, whatever. And without any moral compass attitude for why, and do you know how you affect those people and the people that they serve and their families. It's just, okay, cutting costs, move. Yeah, it's hard.
Thank you all so much for your time. I hope it provided value to you. Until next time, bye-bye.
I'm all for innovation and marketing, but the idea of having cereal for dinner, is there the potential for that to land the wrong way?
We don't think so. In fact, it's landing really well right now, Carl. When we look at all of our data, of course, we would know that breakfast cereal is the #1 choice for in-home consumption. We understand that for breakfast. It turns out that over 25% of our consumption is outside the breakfast occasion. A lot of it's at dinner, and that occasion continues to grow, as well as the snacking occasion. But cereal for dinner is something that is probably more on trend now, and we would expect to continue as that consumer is under pressure.
Wow. Good video, I have to say. It's gives a thought, a food to think about how it's going in the United States, because this is about the United States. And for Europe, I'm thinking about how is AI affecting this, but the job market in the US is so sensitive with every change of regime. It's undoable. The things that I see and the things that I hear about how easy people are laid off, and then they are without a job, without a home, without any source of income, and they need to find a way to get back into. It's amazing. That's it. Somewhere, somehow, this gonna lead to either the Great Depression again, or it's gonna lead to somehow a mass civil war, or a mass insurrection of mass strikes or whatever. But it's gonna lead to some mess, because I don't think that this will be good for another decade. It's not. It's gonna the fuse is lit, and somewhere this bomb is gonna explode. And I guess with Trump at the helm, it will explode somewhere this year, maybe next year. But this is not good, what's happening in the United States. It's not. I hope you liked the video. If you did, then press like. And if you want to see more of my videos, then this is a good starting point. And otherwise, you could press the subscribe button. That would mean the world to me if you did. And thank you for watching. And see you in the next video.